So going to the hot springs might not be a bad idea before you fly out. But I will also say, don't worry about being overly prepared for this. If you do this mission right, you're only going to need to fight once, and it's not a particularly hard fight at that. Just making a separate save file in case I missed anything. I kind of feel like they were particularly proud of this sequence in the original PSP version. Looks a bit clunky by modern standards, though, I will admit. And suddenly, the ropes over the bridge are gone. Benefits of living in a technological city. And we meet Maintenance Chief Gustav again. Of course, we haven't really put much thought into what happens after we get him out and what the implications of that are. So, once you select this, you are locked into the end sequence of this chapter. Every side quest will expire, so make sure you've done everything before you do this. But like I said, you really don't need to prepare all that much in terms of combat ability. Don't worry, we'll bring everyone back. Let's do this. It's the Capua theme again, but I guess it kind of fits for an airship taking off for a dangerous operation. And faster! Faster! You know what? Maybe it's a good thing she missed the flight, because I feel like she would have blown this entire operation. Really? What could be worse than what's already going on? Well, that. And on that bombshell, we go back into the sky. Well, yeah, that's gonna be awkward, but anything to infiltrate the fortress. That's not gonna... Yeah, that won't end well. And by 30-minute flight, he means it's going to take as long as it takes to talk to everyone. Even Faye's coming along with us. Yeah, everyone's probably really nervous about all this. Everyone is very committed to this mission. I get the feeling you'd have to get used to having your ear barked into in this kind of job. Oh, even Anton came up with us. No one in there. And Agate and Tina are up here. I guess it's nice to see a more light-hearted interaction between these two. And yes, after you've talked to everyone, a cutscene will occur when we head outside. Well, yeah, that's a little bit of leaning on the fourth wall there. Yes, this is indeed the start of something very big. This is the point where the plot starts getting really, really intense. Why has all this been occurring? I'm sure it's related to the job Dad was put on. You don't want your orbit breaking down in a dangerous situation. It's kind of interesting how anyone who's a bracer in this universe, or anyone who actually operates their own combat orbment, needs to be somewhat, at least passable at engineering. You're on an airship in the middle of the sky. I don't think there's really any chance of backing out now. Watch the language around her, Agate. Yeah, I think we saw that one coming. That gives me Batman vs. Superman flashbacks, though. That was easy to infer. There's a little more to it than that, though. I know it's probably obvious, but I'll just say remember that conversation for later. It won't get addressed until the second game, but it's very important to Agate's overall character arc and motivations. Especially if you've figured out who Misha really is at this point. Okay, we go back down here and talk to Gustav. We'll begin the operation. Disguising, huh? That is really cool, honestly. And Estelle agrees. And here's where we get to become sardines. Yes, I was born ready to squash myself into a tiny container. And of course, awkwardness, Estelle has to squash in with Joshua. Because why wouldn't that happen? I like his face there. Well, okay then. Weirdly, Agate is actually being the most reasonable about this whole thing. So, we can do this. It's all up to us. Once that bioscanner is fooled, we've got to get out of here, and then pretty much do our thing and get out. We do not want to waste any time in this place. Hopefully Gustav remembers which of these crates is the right one that we're in. Maybe that patrol ship was damaged a little bit by Tita's cannon. Maybe that's why they need supplies quickly. Yeah, why do I get the feeling it will not be wrapped up in our favor if that's the case? Again, this guy has his excuses prepared. I love the suspicious, heel point here. It's not hard to tell that you'll be able to explore this place. Uh-oh. Yes, but are we sure our equipment's in working order? Well, has our cover been blown already? And gone. Rejected by a cat. Clearly he knows there's something suspicious about this place. So yeah, there was a reason I actually made an effort to speak to the cat earlier. Because, yeah, Antoine is actually important later. I still can't believe that you can actually kind of translate his dialogue with the Kitty Talk for Dummies book. It's been kind of fun doing that. Emergency command structure, huh? And who's them? Oh. Looks like nobody here knows who to trust anymore. The real question is, what side is Sid on? And so, seems like we've successfully evaded the bioscanner. And now we can finally stop holding awkward poses. Agate's being weirdly nice all of a sudden. Perhaps that conversation about Misha early helped him open up. And yes, that was all planned. So, good job Gustav for figuring that out. Okay, so we are currently, I believe, at the landing port. So, at this point, I'm pretty sure that what you say here doesn't actually matter in terms of bonus BP. Obviously, the professor's not at the main gate. They're probably not being held in a watchtower. Maybe not the barracks. So these two seem to be the most reasonable answers. And I believe the place that we actually need to search is the research wing. Again, from all the guides I've read, that question is not related to bonus BP, so I'm pretty sure that it doesn't really matter what you say there. It is kind of an obvious location for him, but it's also heavily guarded. So we don't really have a map of this place, like, on our physically displayed while we're walking, so you'll kind of need to remember the layout of this map. Okay. Steal a boat, right. Well, they're bound to notice that, and they also have very good water defenses, so... We know that there are, sensors all around the ports too, so if they didn't see us getting in, they are definitely going to see us getting out. So let's hope that we have what we need by the time that happens. So obviously there's an ultimate charging station here, but what you want to do before you do anything else is save right now. So, I'm going to explain how this segment works. There will be soldiers patrolling the fortress. If you are seen by any of them, you'll enter a battle. But, if you want the maximum amount of BP for this chapter, you have to never get caught. And that means we're going to be avoiding every fight we can in this segment. So, let's move out. So yeah, you kind of want to hug the walls here, and make sure you're careful with the camera. You might not see any soldiers just yet, but they are patrolling around the center. We can't get in there, so we can ignore that safely. Oh, that's an attack dog. Yep, just barely saw that out of the corner of my eye. That's another one. So yeah, you can fight those if you want, but if you do, you'll lose out on BP. So make sure you just calm down and head straight to the research wing, which I believe is right here. Yep, cutscene. So... I kinda skipped out on a lot of stuff there, and I believe that if you do get maximum BP for this chapter, you can't complete the monster book for this chapter, because you will end up fighting Royal Army soldiers and Royal Army commanders if you get spotted. So yeah, you actually won't get them in your log if you don't fight them, and you are not supposed to fight them. But it seems like those are the black-clad soldiers we've fought before. That and we definitely raised the alarm. And from here, the map's kind of awkwardly tilted. Yeah, see the 3 question marks here? I believe it's actually impossible to fill out those slots if you're on a max BP run. Thankfully, there's no achievement for completing the monster logbook. There is in Trails of Cold Steel, but... there, it and a 100% run are not mutually exclusive. But anyway, we need to look in through this window. It's very reinforced, and there's no way for us to break in without a lot of noise. But looking in the window gets us to see an important piece of info. Yep, the Black Orbman is here, and the Capel, and the Professor. So, a lot of people in the comments who hadn't seen this game before, there were a lot of guesses that either Amalthea or Colonel Richard was the mole. Turns out, it was both of them. A lot of people realized that the game made a pretty big deal about how much of a great guy Richard was, like in all of the newspapers, so it was kinda obvious that, yeah... wasn't hard to see that he was the big bad of this game, especially considering that he showed up at both the Mayor Dalmore and Sky Bandits incidents. Also, I can finally just say now, Amalthea looks so blatantly evil in most of her portraits, so it's not hard to suspect her either. But anyway, that thing is apparently called a gospel. Wow, really? You think Cassius Bright is not able to stop what's going on? Huh, so I'm guessing he had this thing originally. Well, that's ominous. Yeah, it's portraits like that, which I'm pretty sure she shows earlier in the game. It's not hard to realize that she's going to be one of the game's antagonists. Of course, threatening Tita. And yeah, that's it. That's the first time we've seen that portrait. Like, actually seeing him actually angry. Well, it was a good thing that he was involved, because the whole civilian clause means we can investigate this whole thing due to loopholes. This is the first time we're actually getting a name for this guy. So yeah, neither of these two were that mysterious masked commander. He's someone entirely separate to them. Well, using codes, but I think we can kind of figure out what that means. Yeah, that whole something big that came up. Of course, Agate's more concerned with settling the score with that mask guy. Who is going off base now, so hopefully Agate can restrain himself. And a little bit of ominous dialogue there. So these ships right here, I don't know why, but the front of these ships has always looked like a cartoon rat with buck teeth. And now, I'm sure that none of you can unsee that now that I've said that. But every time I see those ships, that's what I think. Yeah, Agate's actually being really reasonable for this. But since most of the commanders are gone now, they've left this place relatively unguarded. Joshua tends to space out a lot around these black-clad soldiers. At least he still heard the plan. So, this is the one time where you actually do need to fight during this chapter. So don't worry about getting spotted here. But what is their dream? And we now know these are actually Intelligence Division Special Ops soldiers, and also... I love that, just... I don't know why, but I've always just thought that line was pretty funny. Just hearing that out of nowhere. And so, fight time, and you know what? In this fight, I just kind of like to unload all of my S-crafts. Because if everything goes right, this is the last time we'll be fighting in this whole chapter. So this is actually why I went to the hot springs to recharge my CP. If you're going for a max BP run, there is no reason not to blow all of your CP here. Because they'll obviously notice these two unconscious guys right here. So let's go. No, this isn't a dream. We're here to rescue you. This is the hard part, though. We've got to get out of here. And, well, he's as colourful as always. Finally, Agate's on the receiving end of someone being a jerk for once. Yeah, that's definitely him. Leave the neck ring until we're out of here, though. They already took the gospel, though. We can still grab the computer. Thankfully, the actual processing unit of it's pretty small. Ah, so they've finally figured out how to actually make it activate on command. That could be incredibly dangerous, as you can probably tell. Yeah, leaving that thing alone with the professor was probably a bad idea in hindsight. And in fact, us causing that blackout so publicly, that's probably what clued Richard in to where it was. But Agate has a point now. Okay, now, at this point, I would also recommend saving. Because what you have to do here is not entirely obvious. We have to go back through here. And don't worry about the alarm being raised now, this is entirely scripted. So can't go there. Oh, actually, something that I was going to mention as well. After you leave the landing port, if you go back there, you will automatically get spotted. So, if you want to use that ultimate charging station, be sure you do it the first time you're in that area. It's kind of a jerkish thing. I've actually tried that off camera, and yes, it's frustrating, because then I hadn't saved at the time, and I had to go through the entire airship conversation again. So again, at this point, it's a little unclear exactly what we need to do. Where we actually need to go is that locked door from earlier. Weirdly, it's the last place you'd want to go right now, but it is your only option. Just stick to the walls, because there are guards patrolling. The command center. So, in here, pretty much everywhere we can go is locked. Including that door all the way up at the end. So, what we need to do from here is check downstairs. Yeah, we've got a lot of familiar faces in here. Well, maybe not some of them. There seem to be some royal guards in there. And hey, it's Josette. We haven't met you for a long time. Of course they're focused on breaking out. Oh no. Yeah, since we last kicked your butts and got you arrested. It is kind of interesting that Estelle doesn't immediately jump to insults here. It does show that she's developed quite a bit since the beginning of the game. Of course you'd be focused on that. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, they were being supported by them. Yeah, he did seem to have a hand in arresting both of those two. Delmore was still obviously a criminal, but basically it seems like the intelligence division was helping with their crimes and then arresting them at the opportune moment, all in a bid to raise Richard's popularity. Now, what we need to do at this point is we have to attempt to leave. Well, hopefully this is someone we can trust. We have no other options at this point. We might as well try. This could easily be a trap, but like they say, it's our only option at this point. I made sure to show off this door earlier, because it's where we need to go. Yep, it's Major Sid. The soldiers earlier implied he was already in the base. And he did seem to regret what was going on, so turns out there might be one guy in the army we can trust right now. Yeah, people were wondering what General Morgan was doing right now, but yeah, he's out of the picture. So, there's been a lot of corruption in the army. And it resulted in Richard rising to the top. And that's probably not going to end well, especially since he seems to have some ominous plan for Grand Cell City, and he currently has basically an ultimate EMP. Huh, I wonder why that is. The Queen mysteriously going silent and her royal guard suspected of treason. There's obviously foul play involved in that. And this is exactly why I was worried about them taking Dorothy's photo. See? This was their plan all along. I remember being pleasantly surprised when I got to this point in my first playthrough. I really was not expecting Major Sid to be this decent. It does kind of make sense that the commander's quarters would have some kind of secret escape route, just in case of emergencies. There's also the fact that, well, I mean, there are worse things that Colonel Richard could arrest you for right now if he found out about this anyway. Yeah, we certainly are. As usual, someone else who knows Cassius. We knew he was in the army before, but yeah, we now know he was a colonel. We will find out later why Cassius prefers to keep his military past hidden. Okay, hopefully they don't realize what's going on here. Hopefully Sid doesn't get punished. That animation's nice. So we actually do get full control here. There's really nothing for us in this area apart from the boat. Yeah, kind of reminiscing about Cassius. But we can do that later. Let's go. But Tita's the only one here with a hat! And with that, we're actually out. Yeah, I feel bad for Tita because she didn't really ask to get involved in all this, and now she's basically a fugitive. Yeah, splitting up might be a good thing to avoid pursuit. We knew that we'd be going to Grand Sale eventually to get our final recommendation. But we never thought that it would be like this. Of course, ominous religious theme naming. That has to be a thing in JRPGs. Yeah, they had to get that thing back. Which means it's vital to their plan somehow. Of course, getting it back now is gonna be very difficult, considering Colonel Richard himself has it. And, well, yeah, he's gonna be kind of annoying and not tell us, but the Gospel can do more than just shut down orbital power. I don't know if it's exactly an official Bracer Guild request, but we'll take it. Unfortunately, this means we're gonna have to say goodbye to Tita for a bit. I mean, you knew this would happen at the end of the chapter, but I doubt any of you suspected it to be because Tita would be becoming a fugitive. So we're also going to be saying goodbye to Agate for now. This was in a way kind of the real Agate chapter. We only barely saw him in chapter 2. And farewell, Professor, Tita, Agate. If everything goes well, we'll meet up again in Grand Cell. And on that note, we end Chapter 3. So, something that I really want to praise about this chapter, also we get the achievements. Unfortunately, it's not the Evil Penguin line, but anyway. This chapter does not end on a boss fight. Even if you end up, like, accidentally fighting some soldiers due to getting spotted, there is no big climactic boss fight to end this chapter, and yet it still manages to be a more dramatic ending than any earlier chapter in the game. It just goes to show that you don't need a big dramatic boss fight to have a climactic moment in the story. I just really love that. So, next time, it will be time for the last chapter in Trails in the Sky FC. However, that doesn't mean we're at the end of the game just yet. The 4th chapter, or 5th if you count the prologue, is quite long. And there's actually very few side quests in this one, so the majority of it is going to be plot. And, well, this is where the plot really escalates. Look forward to the finale. See you all then.